presume you can hear me, so hopefully there's no problems with my sound today, but um, there's just what's appearing to happen. There's just aliveness, energy, and there's no you that's alive. It's very simple. When you feel that there is a you that's alive, an individual, there's a sense that, a really lived sense that there's a world out there in which you're negotiating your way through and meeting what you think are other people and relating to them. And you feel that there's somewhere to get to, and you feel that you're moving in time and space in a causal reality into the future. The past is behind you, and you're living in the present. And everything confirms that. And it seems that that's real. So you're living in that reality, apparently. It's a lived sense of separation. And when there is that, then there's a yearning, because it's a half alive thing, being an individual. You're living in the real, really. You're living, apparently, in a sense that you are a subject and everything is an object to you. People, experiences, things, they're seen, they're experienced from that sense. Um, and in that living in the real half alive thing, nothing is an object, nothing is a thing, just as everything else is a thing. And actually, what's yearned for is for this sense of this you, not for you to get something or have something or know something. What's actually yearned for is an absence of this sense of being you. So it's a loss. What's yearned for is a loss. And that loss, in that loss, then everything is nothing. So nothing is actually seen, but not by you, and nothing isn't a thing. Nothing is everything, and everything is nothing. So to put it plainly, the duality of their feeling like there's a life and you have a life, and a different thing called death is falls apart, and as all duality falls apart when you no longer feel like a separate individual. So everything is nothing, nothing is everything. Life and death aren't these separate things. They're not things at all. This is everything. This is boundless, unconditional love. This is wholeness. This is eternal. This is infinite. And those things might sound complicated and, you know, esoteric. And actually, they're incredibly simple. They're stunningly simple. It's simply that this is already boundless wholeness already. When you feel separate, you're going around in a loop looking for it. So that's what we're talking about. That's what's being shared. That's what's shared here. It's nothing to do with Kenneth. Nothing to do with any character that shares it at all. Nothing at all. It's not a teaching. There are no teachers. There are no gurus. There are no masters. Only in a story. It's just a story. There is no authority. What's yearned for is not knowing. What's yearned for is unknowing, actually. It directly, just immediately, whatever appears to be. That's what's actually yearned for, which doesn't involve you knowing or having. It involves a loss of this sense of the one who knows. And then it's just immediately, it's indescribable and unknowable. And it's simple and directly just whatever is appearing to happen. Question. Because it's more raw feeling emotions after the me is gone, does more reactivity seem to arise? Reactivity. I don't know. I got a sense of what you're saying. All right. I think that it's just for instance, if there was anger, when it's no longer my anger and it's just anger, then boom, it's just there. There's just anger, and it's just another thing that appears to happen. When it's my anger, there's a story around it and a stickiness to it, in a sense that. So some people, if they feel like an individual, they may have a story about that they shouldn't be angry and that it's wrong to be angry, and then so anger could arise, and then there's this whole kind of energy around it, then just um, this loop around it. Maybe that kind of answers what you're asking. um, I can't really say. You see, it's impossible to say there's more or less of anything, really, because it's just a story. Liberation, not feeling like an individual, is totally and utterly indescribable. I have no idea what. You can't describe it. It's just what there's just whatever's appearing to happen. And in some character, when the sense of self falls away, they might notice more of something and less of something else, possibly, and another character wouldn't really. So you don't know. Thanks for nothing. Thank you. Yeah, it's 100% alive, Boris. It's very simple. The reason um, that you'd often hear from people saying that what's your, or a clear communicator anyway, you'd hear them talk about how actually what's really being yearned for and searched for is actually only appears to hide by simply ingeniously just being already whatever is appearing to happen. It's not hiding by being really difficult and esoteric and complicated and hard to get to, which is logically what you would think. You think because you feel like an individual, there's something to get, there's something to know, and it must be that if I work really hard, I'll get there, I'll know it, I'll find wholeness. And you hear from all these people that call themselves teachers and masters, and they report that they're enlightened, for instance, or they're liberated or whatever it is, and they did A, B, or C, and then you think, well, I'd like to have what they have, and then I'll do A, B, and C, and I'll get there. It's very seductive and um, logical, because that's the way the world feels to us. It feels like if I do this, then I get somewhere, because I've a lived sense of moving in time, and it's a causal reality in which one thing happens and another thing happens. But fundamental to that is the sense that I have a life and I'm living my life. So I'm making things happen. And this is a completely, totally, and utterly different perspective, you could say. Perspective is not really a great word because it implies it's for somebody. It's just it's it's simply already whatever is appearing, sitting, breathing, and that can be seen at any time. And when that's seen, what's being said here can just resonate, and if it resonates, it's resonates in a way that's not conceptual, or it's it's this, and the sense that there's a you, that there's the things are really happening, and that there's a you that they're happening to, just incredibly isn't there anymore. And it's seen that it really wasn't ever there. It was an appearance or an overlay or software or whatever. Yeah. So if life is life an illusion, just like when waking from a dream in the morning, nothing really happened. Yeah, I mean it's a story. You could say it's unknowable. You feel it's knowable when you feel you have a life, and you definitely feel that things are really happening. So as I was saying in the beginning, it's a real sense of living in the real. I have a life. I'm seeing things, separate objects. There are no separate anything actually, but it appears that way, and it appears that there's time and space and causation. So it really feels that things are happening. You're living in the real. Things are really happening in time and space, and that's just an absolute reality for you as an individual. And the suggestion is that it's just an appearance, actually. There's nothing happening. This is nothing appearing to happen. And that's just, that's totally beyond the mind, completely beyond knowing and understanding. This is nothing appearing to happen. And so if you fall away, just to get back to the last part of your question, like there's nobody listening to this that will actually fall away and not be in it, only in the story, and nothing does happen. And the reason nothing happens, it's not a happening, is there already isn't an individual. So when that sense of being an individual isn't there, it's seen by nothing, that you never really were there. So therefore, it's not really a happening. It could only be a happening in the dream of separation, in which things are really happening. There's just simply whatever is, and that is and isn't. So everything is nothing. Nothing is everything. So I have a question here about how does one transcend fear or contraction and let go, or does one not have a choice? So there's just the illusion of choice. When you feel like a separate individual, there's a sense that you're in control of your life and you have choice. So free will and all of that are in the story. It's just an appearance. There's no one to have free will at all. So there's nothing to transcend. It wouldn't. It's not. It's only for the individual that they would think that there's something to do to not be an individual. So the individual then loves to do something to not being an individual, to keep just going around and around in this dream of being an individual. Um, so, for your example, how does one transcend fear? I mean, it's the really lived sense that it's your fear and something needs to be done with it, that just is in the loop of you being a separate self. So, when there's just fear, and there is just fear, there's no you that it has fear. Um, and when that's all there is, it's just seen that there's just fear. There's no me that has fear. So, there's nothing to transcend, there's nothing to be done. The apparent issue or problem is that you feel that you have fear, and when you feel you have fear, you feel there's something to be overcome or done with that. Fear is just energy, just another thing that appears to happen. When I say that this is it, or this is what's yearned for, I mean obviously everything. Anger, fear, pain, confusion, anything you can name is just aliveness. When you feel that you have a life, all of those things, they're not really desirable, they're not it. So I'm pushing them away, and I'm pushing in, I'm pulling in comfort and pleasure. So that's the dualistic dream, that play of opposites that I feel like I'm in, comforting myself for the apparent loss of wholeness. Wholeness has never been lost, because all there is just wholeness, appearing as as separate to itself. So all the afterthought commentator is apparently gone. Yeah, it's just um, there's just what's appearing to happen. That's all there is. So instead of there being this sense that I'm sitting on the chair and I'm talking now, there's just talking. It's very. This is the most natural, ordinary thing. That's the incredible thing. Liberation, enlightenment. There's no such thing as liberation or enlightenment. But the point, what they point to, is just incredibly simple and ordinary. There's just sitting on a chair now, talking, sound. There's just, if I felt like an individual, I would feel I'm sitting on the chair then. And there's a whole narrative around that. There's a whole sense of self awareness and consciousness, in which I'm kind of speaking to myself and monitoring what's appearing to happen, and feeling that I'm sitting on the chair, I'm talking. And the suggestion being made here is that all of that is just a story. It's just an appearance. There's no you there. Never has been. Fear could arise, yeah. Sorry, the question is, does fear arise? Everything still appears to happen. So the difference is, if there's fear, it's just energies, just fears. There's no problem with fear. There's no problem with anything that appears to happen, because it's just energy appearing as that. So what I'm suggesting, or what's more accurately, what's being suggested is it's all just aliveness. That's all there is simply aliveness. Fear, any, so when your sense of self, the sense of being separate isn't there, anything could appear to happen for nobody. Pain, fear, anything. That is liberation, is that there's no longer a sense that it's happening to you. And it's all it, if you like. So fear is it as much as being feeling safe. Pleasure, pain is it as much as pleasure, because it's all just aliveness. So this dualistic play of dichotomous play of having to be one or the other, and pushing away one and pulling in the other, is just is falls apart. Um, I'm speaking. Where am I from? I'm in Ireland. Apparently, there's no Ireland. Ireland's a story. It's real and unreal. You are real and unreal. You're real in your appearance, but you feel absolutely real. What is love? I mean, love is means different things to different people. I would see, when I talk about unconditional love, I speak about something that is not a thing, and it can't be just known, and it can't be described. And when it's just a pointer, in the same way that I say this is energy, it's just energy. Energy, or unconditional love, is all embracing. It is all that appears to be, and that play of opposites. So things that you think of as negative and horrible are also just energy as well. One of the mistake, not a mistake, but one of the misconceptions is when I say that these things, these horrible, painful, negative things, are also with people, because they're in a play of opposites. They think, oh, so murder is okay then, or war is okay then. I didn't say it was okay. I didn't say it was anything. It's and I That's logical, because the individual would is in this play of opposites, and then feels that what they would do is that these negative things are, then they're good, then they're all right, because it's not that they're good or bad, they're just are what appears to happen. There's just energy. So love, in the sense of that we feel love towards each other, is we meet each other's needs, and we call that love. Then of course that is also unconditional love, because all there is unconditional love, and there's a can be a flavor of that in that too. um, which can be seen, especially when someone initially, that wild abandon of your apparent boundary going down between another, and the drunk lunacy of completely in loveness with somebody. But usually what appears to happen then is the boundary comes up, and the rule book comes out. Right, you'll do this and I'll do this and you'll do this, and that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's just it is a meeting of needs, which also is unconditional love. Is this it? Yeah, of course it is. This is it. What's being yearned for is simply whatever's appearing to happen. What a shock to the individual. The individual thinks that what they're yearning for is an experience, or a state, or getting somewhere, or having that big house, or getting the money, or becoming enlightened, or being loved by everybody, or whatever. And it's a continual sense of rejecting what's appearing to be, rejecting what's yearned for in favor of what could be, what might be. The individual is just is this model of reality, in which it's moving, anticipating, learning from what appears to happen, and anticipating what could happen, and moving into the future. And there's nothing right or wrong with it. It's simply what appears to happen, but it's a story, it's an appearance. It doesn't feel like that when you feel like an individual. It feels absolutely real. There's a really lived sense of feeling separate. It's not a concept. The individual really is a cellular, contracted sense that they're in the body, and they're looking out on the world, and they're relating to everybody, and relating to things. Are we in apparent form as frequently sound and vibration, electromagnetic energy? torus field. I mean, yeah, there is only energy. That's the only way I can put it. This is energy phoning. This is energy YouTube live streaming. It's obviously just a story. It's not real and solid like you feel or experience it to be. There's only energy. That's all there is energy appearing as something solid and separate. Energy can't be created or destroyed. It just appears to change from one thing to another. Therefore, you were never actually born or lived your life and will die. Only in the story will appear that way. Nobody's ever actually died. It appears that way though, so it's real and unreal, you could say. But everything is just energy, and like if you want to, I mean that's the way it is. That's not knowable though, really. That everything that I've said here is not knowable. You can have a concept, and there are concept. Yeah, like I mean, under the heading of non-duality, it's like another religion now. People know they're not there or whatever, and it's just another concept. It doesn't make any difference. This is not knowable. What's being said here. So I don't exist. I didn't really say, I didn't put it like that you don't exist. You're an appearance, and therefore will never get anywhere. Yeah, you won't get anywhere because there's nowhere to get to, because this is already boundless wholeness. There is nowhere to get to, only in the story. And you're confused because it strongly feels like you're responsible for what's going on in your life. Yes, absolutely. Of course you do. You feel that you have a life, so you're then responsible for what's going on in your life. Obviously, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. This whole sharing is people. This is the way this works. I do Zoom. I do in-person meetings, Zoom meetings, and the whole energy of the meeting is people come and they ask whatever question relating to what's been said that they want, and you cannot actually ask a wrong question, and it's all about, then it appears to be a question and answer, but it's all about an energetic resonance with what's been said. And it can be then that there could be confusion, so instead of there being clarity, in the sense that I get an answer to my question, the sense of being a separate individual who has a question could apparently collapse. So there's actually not even a question anymore. And if there's confusion, it's seen that there's just confusion, and confusion is just another thing that's appearing to happen. Makes no difference at all. I'm not asking for anyone to be clear. If you're clear about this, it's just you feeling clear about this. You know something maybe. Is this the same as emptiness? Yeah, the empty fullness that you sometimes hear referred to in Buddhist texts and different spiritual texts. That's exactly what I'm saying. That nothing is everything and everything is nothing. You are apparently, only apparently, in the story, are in you are dualism. You are the sense of there being something and nothing, everything and nothing, life and death, and it's a dream. Emptiness is full and fullness is empty. And it's just simply what it's very simple. It's very ordinary. I can't say that enough. I can't stress that enough. It's so ridiculously simple what's being spoken about here. And everyone listening to this already knows it, because they already are that. And overlaying that may be a sense of being an individual, an energetic sense of being an individual, in which there's a lived sense of knowing an abstraction from the whole. Um, yeah, the I am is the core illusion. Yeah, this is the only illusion really, is the sense that there's a you who has a life. Once that sense of being separate and there's been a separate you isn't there, there's just free fall. Then there's just whatever is appearing to happen, and it's seen there always was just liberation. The sense that you were an individual was always just a story, was an overlay, was an appearance. How does this happen to you? So it doesn't happen to anybody. It didn't happen to me. If I was, this would be a different communication. If I would start to tell you, oh, in 2007 I did this and blah blah blah. It's all a story. There's nothing that happens to anybody. Nobody's doing anything. Just feel that they are. If they feel like an individual, they feel that they have a life and they are doing anything. So if there's liberation, actually, there's liberation. The sense of you being not being an individual just isn't there anymore. What appeared to happen before that is irrelevant, actually. But you as an individual would feel that you could do something to bring about liberation. You can't, because all there is liberation already. The sense that you can do something just feeds the sense that there's a separate you. There's nothing to be done. There's nowhere to get to. There's no, it's not even that there's nothing you can do. I'm not saying that either. What's been said is there's no you to do or not do. There's simply directly just aliveness. That's all there is. There's no you that's alive. What makes this so ordinary is that it's simply already everything that's appearing to happen. It's simply directly just whatever is appearing to happen. You as an individual are in a dream of extraordinary ordinary. So this play of opposites, that is dualistic play of opposites. So you feel that there's kind of ordinary, oh, I get up in the morning, I have my breakfast, I get dressed, I drive to work. It's all kind of very humdrum, boring, and stale. There's a kind of sense of staleness to it and ordinary. And then, oh, I went out on the weekend, went to an amazing restaurant. It was extraordinary. It was amazing. And there's that play of feeling that things are boring or ordinary and then extraordinary. So that collapses when you feel, when your sense of being separate collapses, as every play of opposite does. So then there's just, this isn't ordinary or extraordinary, but what I keep saying about it being ordinary is that is just a pointing that it's simply already whatever's appearing to happen. So there is no ordinary or extraordinary. There's just an in loveness for nobody with what appears to be happening. Sometimes that's nice and sometimes that's painful. And it's all just aliveness. That is free fall or liberation. Um, I don't know where to put my attention. It feels like I can direct attention, but I have realized that attention simply doing its own thing. I am out of control. It feels weird. Yeah. So there's no you to direct an attention. It's an appearance. It feels like that you have awareness and consciousness, and that's just another aspect of feeling separate. It's a feature of knowing. It doesn't matter. And I suppose what I would say really is that everything that's been said here, it's simply whatever's appearing to happen, and it's inescapable. So if there's what you described there as, oh, I don't know where to put my attention, that's just aliveness. You can't go wrong with this. There's just what's appearing to happen. There's no you. The attention appearing to be on something in the sense that it's your attention is all a dream. It's a story. And if there's a sense of discomfort, then what's being also suggested is the sense of discomfort is also it, obviously, because it's what's appearing to happen, isn't it? This is huge. Yeah. I mean, this is the only conversation, really. There's nothing that compares to this. This is absolutely stunning, and it's completely ordinary and useless to the individual. It's totally useless, because if it's of any use to you, then it's a concept and something you can use in your life. But it's absolutely, there's no communication that compares to this. It's not my communication. It's nothing to do with any communicator at all. And it's all about a resonance. If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, and it's like watching paint dry, then it's like watching paint dry. That's what's appearing to happen. It's not actually anything. Psychedelics are basically, people report when they're on psychedelics that their sense of separation isn't there, or a sense of their being an individual isn't there. And the idea then that is prominent in is a link to non-duality, although there's not even such a thing as non-duality, but a sense that if you repeatedly do these things, that your sense of being separate can diminish or fall away completely. And it's just another idea. Um, psychedelics are something that appears to draw some people and not others. And it's really what I see is, yeah, sure, your sense has been separate. It can be hugely illuminating, but really what you have is someone who has an experience at the other end of it and thinks they did something. So someone could maybe take psychedelics and possibly not feel separate after it. Maybe anything could happen, but to use it as a methodology or a way to not be separate is just another doing. It's just another thing that appears to happen. No, I mean, can I, in your senses, separation loss, can you move object by telekinesis? I mean, all of these ideas you would have of liberation or enlightenment or not being, there's no such thing as enlightenment or liberation, but if of not being separate are complete nonsense, just simply concept. You cannot imagine your absence. You cannot imagine it. You think it's going to be something special and that you'll be able to read people's minds or move objects via that way, and it's just nonsense, complete nonsense. It's just there. It's there's just whatever is appearing to happen, and whatever is appearing to happen is everything. Nothing is everything, and it's unconditional love. It's unknowable, just simply isness. So, um, so I'm gonna take off as a short one today, and I can't do my Zoom today. Usually I do a Friday YouTube live, and then I do a Zoom afterwards, but not this weekend. So there you go. It was lovely speaking to you, and or not speaking, doing this, whatever this is. um, and you get information on my website, kennethmadden.net, about upcoming meetings. I'm in London. I'm in Munich. I have a residential in Germany. I have a residential in Vietnam in October, um, and some stuff in Ireland in September as well. So um, there you go. Shin A. All right. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Nice to see you.